Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to do a little no line coloring with Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers featuring brand new stamps and dies from Pawsome Stamps. So their spring release is here. It is so cute, and I'm going to actually mix and match with some products from my stash, including this great basket die from Simon Says Stamp, background stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and text background from Hero Arts to showcase the darling new Pawsome Stamps designs. We are going to start by stamping the images from the HOPPY Easter stamp set. So if you loved the reindeer bear at Christmas time from Pawsome Stamps, they now have this darling stamp set where you can really customize the bear. So if you don't want to use the bear with the springtime type of images, you could use it with other images to create any season or occasion type of card, but it's really cute if you want to add Easter bunny ears to it, a pearl necklace, the little bow tie. There's all kinds of things, and the greetings are going to really work for springtime type of occasions. I'm going to fill an Easter basket for my first card with the bear. We're going to add bunny ears. We're going to add tons of fun Easter eggs and the little chick. And I just thought the size and scale of the designs in this stamp set would be perfect for filling this Easter basket. Truly, this Easter basket, it's called the Large Easter Basket. It was part of the Simon Says Stamp Easter kit that is now sold out, but you can get the products, the Simon Says Stamp products especially, individually, and it's one of my favorites because I feel like so many things work with the basket, which you'll see not only with this card, but the second card we create today. Now, I do want to also share that while there are coordinating dies for these images, I believe, I maybe shouldn't say that. I'm almost certain there are. I actually used my brother Scan and Cut to cut mine. So you will notice that when I stamped the Easter Bunny ears and the bow tie, I did not stamp those separately and then die cut them separately and add them to my card. Instead, I lined up the ears with the top of the bear. I lined up the bow tie with the bear, and my Scan and Cut will pick that up and die cut it accordingly. It's going to die cut it all as one image is what I'm saying. Yes, I lived on the edge. I stamped, colored, and then die cut it. I can tell you I watched my die cutting machine like a hawk. I use Jellyfish No Line Coloring ink from Lawn Fawn for 99.9% of my no line coloring, no matter what medium I'm using. And that is what I use today. I am using Bristol Smooth cardstock for my coloring. It is the only cardstock that I use for Zig markers. It's the only one I have found that I get good results with. I know I've heard from a lot of you, you feel the same way. It just colors so smoothly. I have listed the marker colors that I'm using down below in the description here on YouTube, as well as over on my blog, so definitely check that out. The marker names for the Zig markers are really long, and so I have found that I kind of don't like listing them on the screen. I know I used to do that a lot, but I think they just cover up a lot of what's going on the screen because the names do tend to get a little bit long. I am using dark brown, beige, and medium beige here, as well as pink haze for the inside of the ears. Now, I had a little stamping mistake with the bear, with that huge solid area. Some of my jellyfish ink actually got in that and then stamped because I pressed on my Misty pretty hard, and so it kind of boogered up the bottom part of my bear. I chose not to restamp it since I'm going to be tucking my bear inside of the basket and you're not really going to see that. I didn't worry too much about it. We're going to give him a cute little pink bow tie. I did do around his nose darker. I did his nose much darker. We're going to do the bunny ears in gray. I really wanted them to stand out. I thought it would be kind of cute and funny, like he's wearing a pair of bunny ears. And for the eyes and mouth, for the eyes, I'm going to use a black jelly roll pen to add the detail back in. For the mouth, we're going to take a fine tip black pen and draw that detail in. And then I will use glossy accents on the nose. I know I didn't film it at the end of this card when I'm putting it together. Once the glossy accents is dry, I do take a white pen and add a little highlight on top of the glossy accents, but we have to wait for that to dry. And I did add a little trio of white dots on both cheeks for our bear as well. Let's move on to the Easter eggs. I'm breaking out all my favorite colors for these eggs, all bright, happy. I call them like rainbow or Skittles colors. These are definitely all my favorite color combinations. So that was bright yellow and yellow. We're going to use peach pink and sugared almond pink. I want to remind you, in case this is the first time you've ever watched me color with zigs, if I am using pink or red, I go ahead and color the other area first, and then I will color with the pink or red. So I did the yellow polka dots first. That's because these are water-based markers. The tip, if you would color red first and you barely touch it, it will bleed into a lighter area. So when I try so hard, sometimes I forget and I have to be real careful coloring, but I really try to color with those two colors last, especially my reds. For the the green, I've already talked about yellow and pink color combinations. Green is light green and yellow green. Now we have turquoise green and green shadow is going to be our great little aqua. Blue and light blue is up next. Blue is another one that you might want to color first, or pardon me, last, because that blue is deep and dark and it really spreads. And then I used a little light violet and just the blender to blend that out. I actually didn't use two colors for the purple today. For the tip of the egg, we are going to color with carmine and light carmine. So that's going to be our red. Just a little tiny touch of red here, not a lot. I tried to keep it more in the pastel or lighter Skittles color family. For the solid Easter egg, we are going to use our turquoise green and green shadow. I think it would be fun to customize the egg. There's a small flower in this stamp set. If you wanted to give this egg some sort of a decoration like the polka dot or striped egg, I think it would be fun to use the flower for that. For our chick, we're going to use bright yellow, yellow, and light yellow with orange for the beak. We will draw in the legs with a black fine tip pen as well as the eye. Now we're going to color in our light violet egg and add blue polka dots. So I did the lighter color first, and then I colored in the polka dots. So on the finished card, there's actually 9 eggs. I'm coloring 6 here. I wasn't sure until I had these die cut and tucked into the basket how many I would need. I really should have erred on the side of doing more. I always think more is better. I ended up tucking a couple more around the bear, but I want a couple outside of the basket as well. Oh, the colors are so much fun. I don't know what it is, but I love coloring Easter eggs. For our next egg, we're just going to do a two-tone stripe. So we're going to use light green and yellow green with turquoise green and green shadow. And then I think my final egg here, I did peach pink and sugared almond pink. And the rest of the eggs are going to be some combination of these colors used here. They will be listed and linked down in the description below, as I don't color those on camera. They were one of those last minute additions to my card. Now I did die cut all my images off camera. I have the large Easter basket from Simon Says Stamp. We are going to take Celery, LIMELICIOUS, and PEARFECTION and ink up the basket. Now you might be thinking, but you didn't use those green colors for the basket on this card, and you are right. So I wanted to talk through my process here, because you'll notice that the background that you see that the bear bunny is laying on, I didn't use that background either. I thought a green basket was going to be really cute, and once I had inked it up, and I actually really loved the basket, but I didn't love the basket with these images. And I'm inking it up with all of these greens, but I actually go back and add some Tropic Simon Says Stamp Positively Saturated ink over the green. You guys, it might be my new favorite color combination of all time. I love the limey green with the kind of aqua teal. It's so pretty, but it just didn't work for my card. I was so super bummed, but then I realized I'm gonna do another card with the daisies anyway. Wouldn't it be fun to do a basket of daisies? And literally that just worked perfect. I was able to use this basket. It didn't go to waste. And I think it works much better with the daisies than it does the bear. So we're gonna try again. I am now going to take Lemonade, Sunbeam, and Citrine and ink up another basket. I always like to kind of share with you guys the thought process or the things that maybe don't go as planned and how you can either use that product, cover it up, fix a mistake, whatever it might be. The yellow really, to me, just worked better. It was a little more, I hate to say neutral, but it did kind of go better with the design. One thing I am going to be consistent with, I mean, both cards do have baskets, but the backgrounds are actually going to be the exact same color. So remember how I said that the background I created I didn't love? I thought I was going to love this two-tone background with this square dance stencil from Simon Says Stamp. Well, the stencil I love, but the two-tone blending, I did not. I didn't think it worked. So instead, we're just going to take the Tropic Positively Saturated ink, and instead of going from side to side on my background, I'm actually just going to kind of start in the center and work my way out. The majority of the panel still gets covered, but the edges are very light, kind of giving you that vignette look, which is what I want. Now, the great thing is I originally inked the square dance background right on my card base, so I can actually completely cover it up with my panel. After I have gone ahead and inked and stenciled my panel, I am going to take the Hero Arts Script Bold Prints background stamp, and I'm going to ink it up with the same ink color, Tropic, and we're going to use second generation stamping to stamp the text over the background. It's going to be imperfect and a little bit muted in places, but that's definitely what I wanted in the finished card. Then we're going to take a sentiment from our HOPPY Easter stamp set, and I am going to slightly curve my greeting in my MISTI and stamp it along the curved edge of the basket with some VersaFine Onyx black ink. Now it's time to fill our Easter basket. I am going to start with the bear as he's the focal point, and I'm going to have him up pretty high in the basket. Then we're going to simply tuck all of the rest of these eggs around and secure them in place once we kind of have it looking the way we want to. You'll notice that I end up moving some things around. This was more of a trial and error and kind of see how it looks. And it's about this point that I decide I am going to need several more eggs to fill my Easter basket and to really be able to have a few outside of the basket for the finished card. So I'm just going to kind of move that around. I'm also going to attach my basket directly to my background with foam adhesive. I'm going to add that glossy accents to the nose on my bear. And we're even going to add some heart accents to our basket. I'm basically doing a lot of the little finishing things before I stamp and color and die cut those remaining eggs. Part of the reason being is that I had already put away my brother's scan and cut, and I was gonna have to get it back out. I don't keep it out all the time. I don't use it. In fact, I haven't used it in a couple weeks. I go in phases. So definitely, I did this a little out of my normal order. We're going to do this little trio of hearts. I think it fills in the space underneath our greeting perfectly. I'm also going to take my bright yellow zig marker, and I'm just kind of following the score lines in that Easter basket to add a little more definition to these before we add our remaining Easter eggs to this basket. And I'm just taking the very tip of my marker. This is actually Nina cardstock and not Bristol that I die cut that basket out of, and so I don't want to try to blend, I just want to add that little bit of detail. This bow is from the Pretty Pink Posh Build a Gift stamp set, or pardon me, die set, and it's a layered bow, and I thought it would be perfect for the top of my Easter basket to add a little something there. If you caught my video where I did the cards using the Easter kit from Simon Says Stamp, I created a dimensional bow there with a folded bow design, the perfect bow from Simon Says Stamp. This is more of a flat bow. So it looks dimensional, but it's going to remain flat. I die cut it from smooth white cardstock and inked it up with my Tropic ink. And then I'm simply building the detailed bow on top of the solid bow, which gives it that great depth and dimension without actually being folded. So I don't have to worry about it getting smushed in the envelope or in the mail. We'll add our little remaining bits and pieces and then glue this to the top of the basket. Tweezers come in so handy here when picking up any of these little small pieces. These are my Spellbinders tweezers. I absolutely love these. So I'm just going to glue that right there. I think the aqua bow against the yellow basket is going to be perfect. I love that. So cute, so much fun. Let's grab our remaining Easter eggs. I have put it off long enough. I already know I need them. So let's go ahead and color those. I already have that done now, and we're going to go ahead and tuck about 3 eggs outside of the basket. And one of those eggs I think the one I thought I was going to have outside the basket, I'm actually going to tuck down in front of the bear on the front of my card. So once I get all of that figured out, we will secure these to our card. Then we will go ahead and adhere this entire panel to our top fold card base. Remember, I had inked the front of my card base with the first color combination I thought I was going to use. I thought I was going to be saving some paper. Luckily, I'm not going to ruin anything. I can just cover it up with this new panel. So I am going to keep the same basic design for our second card. We're going to use a basket. We're going to do the same Square Dance stenciled background with the Hero Art script bold print stamped over the top. But we're going to use our green basket that we created earlier, and we're going to fill it with daisies. I love this OOPSY daisy stamp set, you guys. Oh my goodness. I love coloring in daisies. I did a no-line coloring card here a couple of months ago using a Simon Says Stamp floral stamp set. And I colored one of my daisies in it using these same zig markers, and it was one of my favorite flowers I've ever colored. So we're going to fill a whole basket full of them. Now I am using gray markers to color in white daisy petals. I promise once we color in the flower centers, we die cut these and add them to our basket, they will look white. This just gives the flower petals depth and dimension. I'm using platinum brown, gray tint, and a blender to color in my petals. And I tend to work in small areas. I don't think I color all of the flowers in on camera. There are quite a few. I did stamp all 5 of the flowers from the stamp set. I'm going to use all 5. I'm going to stamp multiple leaves and multiple stems for this card. Now there's lots of great greetings in this. There is a Happy Mother's Day. I'm so grateful for you. You really are the best. Our friendship is always in bloom. Thank you for your kindness. And then the sentiment I chose, which is Oopsie Daisy, I forgot your birthday. I thought it was so, so cute. I'm going to go around the center of my daisy with bright yellow. then a little yellow, and finally finishing with pale yellow before taking my deep or dark brown, pardon me, marker and adding little dot detail right around the outer ring. Then I'm going to go back with bright yellow and add some little dots with that marker, finishing with little dots with my yellow marker. This gives a lot of texture to the center of that daisy, and now doesn't it look like a white daisy? I absolutely love it. For the the leaves and the stems, I'm going to color those with light green and yellow green. This is my favorite bright, limey, spring green color combination, and I think it's going to work perfectly with our Easter basket and background. So we're going to color all of these in. I do end up needing 2 additional leaves for my card today so that I could have a couple of leaves scattered on the outside of the basket, which I'll show you when we get to putting it all together. We're going to color in the rest of our flowers, adding all of that great little gray detail. I used the platinum gray sparingly, mostly down near the center of the flower, then pulled out with gray tint and finally finished with a little of the blender, trying to keep the blender basically to a minimum here. And then bright yellow, yellow, and pale yellow with our dark brown, which is really the key to the flower center, I think, and using it sparingly. We just want to add little dot detail there. So we're going to go ahead and color in the rest of these quickly and then put our card together. For the flowers that don't have flower centers, so 2 of the flowers do not have flower centers, I am going to be coloring the base of that flower with my green marker. I will tell you that off camera, after I colored with light green and yellow green, I went over it with my yellow marker just to pull a little of that yellow color into that, and I really like how it looks. I wanted it to be green, but I like how it gives it a little bit of a yellow undertone maybe. I've sped up the video a ton too, since it's simply repetition for how I colored all of these flowers. You might notice that I drew in little lines at the tops of the stems, and that is so that when my scan and cut recognizes the image, it has a cutting point and doesn't try to cut within the darker line. But I was super amazed at how well it cut some no-line coloring images. That really made me happy. Now, once we have all of our flowers die cut, it's time to tuck them in our basket. So much like the Hoppy Easter card that we just finished, we are going to position our flowers so that it looks like it's a basket full of flowers. I could see using this basket for all kinds of flower designs, and I really contemplated maybe doing a Mother's Day card with this, and I may still, because I just think that that would be super pretty with any kind of flower. It doesn't even have to be daisies. Maybe you have some other flower stamps that you want to use or flower dies. Consider using them with this Easter basket and make it more of a flower basket. I'm going to assemble my flowers, tuck them in place, kind of figure out where I want them all to go before I glue them down. I definitely want any of the flowers where the center of the flower is showing to be more in the foreground, and then the flowers that don't have the flower center showing more as a filler, I guess, if you will. I want to have different heights of the flowers, and I want to leave a nice little space up at the top. We are going to add a bow here as well. This time it's going to be a yellow bow to help pull out the yellow from the centers of the flowers. So I'm still playing around. I played around with this forever, but I kind of think I like this, and we will start gluing it all down in place. Now, just like the previous card, Once I have the flowers tucked inside, I will be popping it up with foam adhesive. Before I adhere anything though, if I want to stamp anything directly on the basket, I should do that first. So I really wanted to show how I kind of planned out my card, and then I decided to go ahead and stamp it, and then we can glue everything down. So the sentiment I picked, the Oopsie Daisy, I forgot your birthday, doesn't fit along the bottom edge of the basket as the whole thing. It's just not going to fit. So what I'm going to do instead, and I guess I did glue my flowers down first, I am going to stamp Oopsie Daisy by masking off I forgot your birthday with a little post-it tape, and then I'm going to stamp I forgot your birthday on a separate sheet of cardstock and die cut it with a sentiment label die. So you'll see that here in just a second. I just love this little basket of daisies. I love the colors. This is just so, so pretty. Let's grab our Misty and let's stamp our sentiments. And the leaves are great fillers. I guess I should mention that. I'm kind of still fussing around with the leaves, but they are fantastic fillers for the rest of the basket. So there's our Oopsie Daisy. Let's go ahead and move that. And now we can cover the back of this with foam adhesive. And I was super generous with foam adhesive. If you guys have been here for a while, you know that I love my foam adhesive. I used foam adhesive squares, and then I took thin foam adhesive strips, or you could cut your own thin adhesive strips, removed the backing paper, and then curved it around the handle so that that thin little handle also has foam adhesive back behind it, which makes it really nice and secure. Then we're going to peel off all of these foam adhesive squares and pop this in place. And I just love this background. I want to do these backgrounds in all the colors for all the cards. This is a great kind of, this isn't a new stencil at all or a new background script stamp. I love being able to pull products from my collection, from my stash, and mixing and matching them with brand new things. So we're going to tuck a few more leaves in. And then add our bow. We're going to use some lemonade and sunbeam and even a little citrine using a smaller blending brush right in the center. Go ahead and assemble the bow just like we did for the last one. I have a little bit of post-it tape on the back here holding everything in place. It made it easier for ink blending, and it's also making it much easier for assembly because everything is stuck to the post-it. We're going to glue our bow in place. We're going to stamp that I forgot your birthday on another piece of smooth white cardstock. Love the yellow on the green basket. So here I'm just stamping. I know I'm out of frame. I did not realize I was still zoomed in. I'm so sorry, you guys. But it's simply a little stamping. We're going to grab our Spellbinders Platinum and die cut this with a sentiment labels die, and then glue down our sentiment right below the Oopsie Daisy. So there's I forgot your birthday. Here's my sentiment labels die. I'm going to temporarily tape that down with a little post-it tape and then die cut it. I put a little double-sided adhesive on the back of my sentiment strip, and then we will simply line that up just like that. We'll add a couple of additional leaves. so that it looks like they've maybe fallen outside of the basket. And that'll fill in that area kind of over there on the right. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for these two no-line coloring cards featuring Zig Clean Color Real Brush Markers and brand new stamps from the Pawsome Stamps March 2022 release. The supplies I used to create my cards are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my Patreon members. If you would like to become a member of Patreon, please click the link in the description down below. We would love to have you over there. Here is another video featuring Pawsome stamps that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel, click that like button, and don't forget to hit the notification bell to always be notified when I have a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.